Good afternoon. I haven't done this in a while, so we're just gonna go ahead and do this video. Basically, Zarhym recently posted on the beta forums requesting some beta class balance analysis feedback. And I actually just recently went ahead and made a fairly lengthy post detailing a little bit of my concerns with Mistweaver Monk class design, mastery versus crit versus haste, as well as a couple things regarding Discipline Priest with Spirit Shell, and their mana regen concerns that I have that a lot of other people also have. So I figured I would make a short little video to actually go over exactly what I specifically said. So we'll just go ahead and dive right into it. Here's a screenshot of the post that I made. Again, I said it was fairly lengthy. And I'll just read it word for word here for you. Mistweaver Monk stat priorities seem a bit undesirable at the current moment due to how the class plays. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the fact that monks stand out from other healer rotations regarding your efficient, inefficient, fast, slow, etc. But stat priority is a bit wonky with how the class functions. For example, haste only directly benefits, at least in PvE situations. Your renewing mists and soothing mists, where the rest of the spells do not directly benefit from any haste values outside of the once in a never hard casting surging mists or enveloping mists. This leads me to feel that the first renewing mist tick will really be our only haste breakpoint, and then focusing stats elsewhere after that is just going to be more desirable. Mistweaver Mastery. This mastery is a bit strange to me. I think Mistweaver Monk's Mastery is sort of how I react towards a Holy Priest Lightwell. No one really utilizes it as it requires them to stop what they're doing, moving to trigger the spell, and go back to what they're doing. Healers are healers for a reason. They want to be able to heal people, not really direct traffic and tell people, hey, your HP's low. Here's an orb. Just, run over the orb, and it'll heal you. So just stop your damage, run over the orb, and then continue on your merry little way. People just aren't going to do that. Kind of like, they just never click on a Lightwell. I like the concept during movement phases, but that's kind of where the Healing Spheres spell really will triumph more, so that you, more so than your random chance to proc your Mastery, you can place it directly on top of someone or in their path that will guarantee trigger it without having to say, hey, look for my shit on the ground, run over it. Lightwell-esque mechanics, to me at least, are always kind of an iffy subject, even for top-end guilds, as it requires a lot of interaction from your players. Rather than, a healer simply healing and doing their job. As a result, the Mastery Sphere design has a lot of benefits for tanks that are anal about everything, i.e. Rignoros, but not really good for general raid healing at all. I intend to run a 12.5% haste breakpoint for the Renewing Mists, and then put the rest of my stat priority into Critical Strike, simply because how that mastery functions, the fact that haste, just doesn't really benefit everything. And I really don't like haste as a healer, because you may or may not get the crit. It's great when you get the crit, but, you kind of may or may not get the crit. So I just really don't know how I like focusing more heavily on crit. Moving on to Disc Priest concerns a little bit, and again, I'm main swapping to my monk, so I'm not focusing a whole lot of time on the Discipline Priest changes. But I'm going to focus a little bit here on Spirit Shell. The current state of Spirit Shell basically feels like a band-aid to the fact that the original iteration just didn't work. Tried to replace Greater Heal, well, Heal first, then Greater Heal with this Spirit Shell mechanic that was, fine for 5 mans and absolute shit for 10 and 25s. And the designers are basically attempting to throw the spell name at us and pretend that it's useful. They're going, hey, we like the concept of giving you a new spell and giving you another absorb. It's a pile of shit, but we're asking to redesign it. So for now, here you go. I don't want that. In most situations, it won't be that fantastic, but it's a great cooldown for things like Impale on Madness of Deathwing, where you can actually use Spirit Shell absorbs in kind of place of, another cooldown if you're limited on the cooldown, which will be nice. So it's going to be very, 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 very fight mechanic dependent in how viable this spell actually ends up becoming. It's a very tank-focused cooldown, and it benefits the raid even less when using it with POH, because you're just not doing the healing with POH, and you don't get the Divine Aegis procs, and it's just kind of a wonky spell overall with raid healing. I feel overall the spell is just sort of sitting there waiting for a complete overhaul of the spell. And it's kind of like, why throw a new spell at you if you just really don't like how it works and it doesn't really fit into your rotation? And it's just kind of like, why bother? You might as well just remove it off my bars. Just don't even let me have it. And you can reintroduce it when you actually come up with something useful. When comparing mana regen to other classes, primarily monk healers, as again I've had more experience with that, Disc Priest mana regen is kind of a rough spot, at least for me personally. Rapture is intended to offset the cost of Powered Shield, not as a mana regen tool for mana regen in general. So it really shouldn't be 100% considered when you talk about your overall regen. Now, obviously, you should talk about it to some extent because there's still, you know, it's still a factor in your gameplay, and it does affect your regen. But I'm talking about just sitting there chain casting POH for raid healing, or doing a bulk amount of raid healing or single target direct healing. The mana's just very tight. You can only cast, you know, like 10 POHs, and then your mana just gets in a really shitty situation compared to other healers. And they say that they're okay with kind of where a lot of the healers' regen is, but, you know, monks are looking fantastic. Priests in general, from what I've seen, Holy Priest isn't looking that great either. So I really don't know how I feel about that. So in most situations when it comes to raid healing, Disc is just really going to a lot faster than Monk, and it's kind of like, you can just go with the argument, well, you should just tank heal a bit more. Well, that's what the Monk's for. So mana regen for Disc just, I think, needs a complete overhaul, and they keep saying, oh, it's fine, it's fine. So overall, that's that's the post that I made on the Blizzard forum. That's my opinion on the matter. If you guys want to check out the direct post, I will include a link to the thread and my specific post within said thread in the info section. I will also post another video if we get a blue response. Hopefully we will. If we don't, we don't. If you have any comments, questions, or if you have any things or ideas that you'd like to add to the discussion, feel free to post in the section, in the comment section below, and I will try to respond to it. I'm really interested in seeing what other people think about the class. If you guys have questions while I'm streaming, you're also more than welcome to ask while streaming. We're really going to be focusing a lot more on Mistweaver Monk and Discipline Priest playstyle and things like that, moving into hopefully raid testing soon. So a lot of theory crafting is going to be done on the channel. A lot of healing gameplay is also going to be obviously done on the channel. So I don't have any problem kind of firing back and forth with a lot of questions and answers and all that good stuff with a lot of people, bouncing ideas off of everybody. So hopefully we'll see you there. If you guys have any questions, again, please feel free to comment below. And check us out live, twitch.tv/AffinityBL. See you later.